let's have a look. So how to adapt? It actually comes down to what we said before. You need to identify the key terms. That's the first thing. Okay. So people often think there are more key terms than there in fact are. Does anyone remember what I said about the number of key terms that will be in an essay question? 2 to 3 will be the range. Sometimes you get given an extract and then you get given a long question, and it looks like there are tons of terms you need to address. But here's the trick. The more terms that you consider to be key terms, the more likely you are to repeat the whole question, because there's too many terms to try and include, that you would end up effectively just saying them all together rather than really going deep on each term. So you really want to focus in what's the 1 or 2 key terms. I often think if I had to pick one term, even if they're clearly a 2 or 3, if I had to pick one, what's that core theme? Sometimes it's really obvious. How does 1984 explore corruption? Okay, corruption, there it is. That's the key term. By the way, how and words like that are not key terms for what we're talking about. We're talking about the types of words or phrases that you need to use all throughout your essay. So I'm not talking about key terms of the question in like, oh, it's a how question. It's not about it that. It's, are there any specific themes identified? Does it say anything about form? Does it say storytelling? Does it say a rubric term like human behavior? Does it say dissonances like that? That's from Module A, Textual Conversations. Does it, if you're doing Mod A Standard, does it say culture, or like, does it have a specific word in there that clearly is the focal point of that question? Okay, so there'll be 2, 3, but I always try and just find that one key idea, that core conceptual focus. Okay, once you get that, you then have to ask yourself the mini questions, the micro questions about those terms, because if you just use the terms by themselves, you're going to end up just repeating the question. But that's not being sophisticated, as we covered at the start. That's not being specific. The way to be specific is to ask yourself questions like what or what type. So if you get told, okay, you need to talk about human behavior, what type of human behavior? Irrational human behavior? Passionate human behavior? Try and use an adjective before, and this is the trick, try and use an adjective, that's a describing word, before the key term. So if the key term is behavior, human behavior, and here's a trick as well. If you think human behavior is the key term, just narrow that to behavior, because the human behavior is going to get you into trouble, because now you're constantly going to want to use those 2 words, which means you're more likely to just repeat them and not expand. So let's drop human and just say behavior. And we'll say, okay, it is disruptive behavior, controlling behavior, whatever. You apply it to the text. You apply it based on your draft essay. Do you get that? You use your draft essay material to inform how you answer the micro questions.